This is our instant reaction to the Warriors Grizzlies game.
Great game. I mean, not even as a Warriors fan, just a fan in general, man. Uh, that's just something you love to see, Back
Yep.
and forth, bucket for bucket, take Curry for granted. And then you watch a game like this and you're like, man, so fun to watch. But we can get into like instant and then we can get into more of the analytical and like deep dive and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into anything, just to recap, Warriors won 134, 125. So, yeah.
Curry had 50 points. Jimmy Butler had, I think, 27. Draymond a triple double. John Morant went off. I think he had 36. I don't want to I don't want to lie about. I'm pretty sure it was 36.
Hit 36. Yeah, five threes.
Yep. Overall, back and forth game. And then Curry, Pods had a crazy layup at the end. Or we can start from this beginning
Okay.
to
We can
beginning.
start with that. I mean, the clutch baskets at the end. Like you said, Potter had that tip in, and then Moody had that corner three, which
Three.
kind of
Yep.
sealed the deal. But
I
what were you gonna say?
I just like as a Warriors fan, it kind of just showed like a full circle moment. Like the old guys kind of carried, or the vets carried, Curry, Jimmy, Draymond. And then you need a young guy to step up. And Pods and Moody, they didn't do much in the game, played solid defense, had a couple things. They're kind of cold, but they made the two biggest plays in the game, and when the Warriors end up winning. So that's in the playoffs. That's something we can dive a little bit later, but I was worried about like, a lot of our rotational players are young guys.
Yeah.
And you don't know how much you're gonna trust that in the playoffs. Someone's gonna have to step up, but the game right here, Moody and Pods stepped up for two big plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I thought their defense, I mean, it was back and forth, but I thought their defensive intensity kind of picked up a little bit at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
the fourth. I mean, they were just making, I mean, both teams were just making tough shots all
Tough
night.
shots.
Tough shots all night. I know Jaw was, Santi Aldama was making a bunch of tough shots. I mean, he kind of sparked the comeback in the second quarter with a lot
Hmm.
of his shots that he was hitting. And, but yeah, I mean, I just, I just thought it was it was a pretty good performance. I thought, I mean, Steph was just unbelievable just the whole
Hmm.
game, especially in the first half. I think he was like 8 for like 10 or 8 for 11 from three. He only
Hmm.
missed like three shots or something, and he had 32. But um, yeah, I mean, just the only concerns I have coming out of the game were just the offensive like inconsistencies at times. Like if Steph wasn't doing what he was doing today, I mean,
Yep. That's why I know he's inconsistent and he wasn't here tonight, but I think this is a game where Jonathan Kuminga just another guy that can get a bucket.
just get a bucket.
Or
Yeah.
he's not maybe in the flow of the offense, but Curry's not gonna have 50 every night in the playoffs. Jimmy's great, but like another option like Kuminga, that's why he can be an X factor. Because maybe some nights it's not the flow, but like say a game like tonight, Curry doesn't get 50. There was times like you're saying, like, oh man, you need a bucket, and the flow is not it's not going well. Like Curry's getting doubled on these screens with Draymond, and Kuminga's a guy where you don't need to like set a play from. Like he can get a bucket. So I would say that, but so that would be Kuminga, and then size, of course. Just Edie was looking like a complete monster. Just, we were talking about like he's whatever, he's not
Yeah.
that skilled, but he looked like he had 16 boards. He was blocking shots,
Catching
and I don't
lobs.
know. It felt like he had more than like he had 11 points. It felt like he had more when you watched it, or he had 10 points. I felt like he had like 20 just because it was all like just those dunks where he's barely jumping. So I
Yeah.
would say that's scared with Jaren Jackson, Edie. So Post is gonna have to step up, later
I
on.
would,
So yeah.
just to add on to what you're saying about Kaminga, even just get into the line, which he does a lot, it's just like that can just, sort of calm down just the momentum and just especially if they're going on a run like they were in the second quarter, just getting to the line or getting
Mhm.
like just a nice low set shot. But the flip side of it though is that I think just as a Warriors fan and just talking about our team, we missed a lot of open shots too though, I think.
Mhm.
Like I know Quinn and Post, I mean, he was
He's
3 for 9
making those.
from three, but I mean, I don't know. I don't remember a single shot that he took that was like not open.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Or
making.
like they were really good looks, like every single one of his 3 pointers, and he was missing some late. There was a lot
Mhm.
of good looks that he had late that like would have really bumped our lead up. But So I mean, I expect us to shoot a little better, like just all around. Like Podge was 0 for 4 from three. Most of those were open too. I only remember him having like one
They
really.
were just leaving Draymond, and he usually I
Yeah, I
trust him to
mean,
make them.
teams have been doing that so much over the past month. I mean, he's taken them. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, didn't he have like he had like 12 3-point attempts in a game. Forgot which
But
game.
they, but the thing with, I mean, for opposing teams, they leave him open, but I feel like that's not too smart because he just does the little dribble handoff with Curry, and then he sets the screen so then the guy's in drop coverage, and then Curry's wide open.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but a lot of them too are just like he's just like on an island. Like
Yeah.
someone's passing the ball, there's like no one around, someone's cutting, and like you could just see like it was ED or if it was I don't even know if Jalen Wells was guarding him sometimes on switches. It was just like
He's on Curry a lot, yeah.
they were just standing at the free throw line, just wanting him to shoot it. But
So yeah, he's gonna have to make those in the playoffs.
yeah, but all around though, the only thing I thought we did get a little three happy at the end of
Mhm.
the fourth, like before we sort of took over at the end. There were a couple shots from Buddy Hield that I didn't really like. Uh,
That's every game.
huh?
I said that's every game with Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I know, but particularly like you said earlier, it was a back and forth game. I mean, I think it was like tied at this point, and there was just one like step back three. It might have been I forgot who it was over, but it just like I mean, it looked like it hit all backboard. It's just
I
some
know what you're talking about here.
Yeah, some of the shots, it was just like you just like to get a better shot in that situation, especially I don't know, you just don't want to waste possessions in these types of games, you know. It could really come back to bite you. Didn't here, and they were able to come through at the end with some plays, but I just think that could be something that um can really hurt him in the playoffs. Like even Steph, I mean, it's hard to say anything about it because you know it's Steph and he was really shooting the lights out. But he even acknowledged, I think, there were like these two threes that he took back to back in a row that probably weren't the greatest shots. Like they could have got something better. And he acknowledged it too, going back on defense. But so
I
it's just
feel like I
yeah.
feel like up there, like it's kind of glay, but I feel like Curry, you can't really say like that's a bad shot. I know what you're saying though. Those
Yeah,
the two.
no, that's what I was saying. I know it's not a bad shot. And like that's where I think I'm not concerned about Steph taking that. He even that's why I said you could even see he was like waving his hand after the shot going on defense. Like he knew he probably could have like got something better for the team in that situation.
Yeah.
But because he ended up
He had a
taking a
great.
really contested like off the dribble step back three. Like it was really contested by Scottie Pippen, the one I'm talking about. And then
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
so I'm not saying it's a bad shot. I just in those situations there's times where I think we do just get three happen. Certainly we rush a lot of shots and we can really just get something better. And then
Mhm.
um but other than that, I think we played a pretty solid game. I mean, we got the win at the end of the day, which is the most important thing. So we're climbing up the standings right now. This win really helped us. But
I would say a bit. I don't know. I'll ask you the question like what's a positive like a big positive. One I saw was just how we closed the game, and we have
yeah.
the advantage because we have like without Jimmy, I don't think we're closing the game like this. Just especially on defense, like he had that late game steal on Jaw. I think with a minute left, and just like you can see how like the Warriors are the older team. Like
Mhm.
at the end of the game, they just composed. They finished it out. There are some things, worried about whatever size and all, but overall, I'm really, I'm really excited for the playoffs. I know that's whatever a lot, but there's optimism, with this Warriors team. And I know this going back to Buddy Hield. I think he's gonna have to like he's gonna be really important just because of how we don't lack spacing, but with Kuminga, Jimmy, Draymond, you're gonna need players around that shoot, shoot the ball
Mhm.
well, can space the floor. That's why post is so important. He's gonna he looks every time he shoots, it's beautiful. Looks like he's gonna knock it down. Today he was missing them, but he hit a couple. So I think, spacing's gonna be real important. So Buddy, he's gonna have to keep shooting and hopefully they'll drop, they'll drop. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that too. I mean, I think you can just see it from the games that he is shooting well. Like it just
Mhm.
unlocks a whole different like type of
Yeah.
gear for us, and we really just start taking over games because then like that's just a whole nother element that adds to us because then they got to really respect that, and it just opens up. It literally opens up everything for everyone else too when Buddy's hitting stuff. So That's the thing that I think I'll be watching going into the playoffs, just seeing how he's shooting and just the type of shots that he's taking too. But overall, I thought we generated a lot of good shots throughout
Yeah,
the
yeah,
game. Like of course you're gonna have those some wild shots. Like Pods had a couple step backs.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I said, what's his name? Buddy Hield had some, but I mean, you're gonna get that eventually. But I just thought we generated a lot of good open catch and shoot shots, and just some of them weren't falling like they normally did. But I mean, luckily Steph was like hitting everything for the most part. So
Yeah, yeah, this, I mean, I didn't mention earlier, but this game just shows that like before I'm like, what can Kuminga do to help the team? But this game, even though they won and Curry had 50 and Jimmy had 27, like getting 77 from Jimmy and Curry, not too sustainable. Where I think there'll be a game in the playoffs where Kuminga will, get you to the line, slow the game down, get someone foul trouble. And that's what Jimmy does, but just another, option that can play one because right now it's Jimmy and Curry the only guys that can, get their own bucket, which is good, fine. But just Kuminga is just another. He's like a cherry on top, you know. Like we
yeah.
already got the sundae, the whipped cream, and then he's kind of just the cherry on top.
Yeah, no, 1000%, and especially just another just athletic body to be out there when
Yeah,
Steph
yeah,
comes to the bench, or even if they stagger it with Jimmy and stuff. And I mean, he can really just be that spark plug, you know.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think you saw it at times. He played the role really well, like during the game in the Kings.
yeah.
He picked and chose his spots really well. He got a bunch of open looks.
Hmm.
They set some plays for him that just worked perfectly. So I totally agree with you. Something else I wanted to highlight was just the free throw shooting. We were
Yeah,
28 for 28 tonight.
yeah, I know.
Crazy. Like,
Look at the
I mean,
beginning
I
of the
don't think
season.
you can expect that every night. But
Yeah, yeah,
I just do. I mean, if we can knock down free throws at a consistent rate, that's good. And I think, I mean, if you see, there's a reason why we did that well. I mean, look at the ones who are taking it. Steph took a bunch of them. Steph had 8, Jimmy had 12, and
yeah,
then Draymond had 4, but Buddy Hield and D Santos had 2 apiece. So, I
yeah,
mean, if
yeah,
you have those guys taking the free throws, like if they're taking the bulk, like we're definitely going to be hitting at least 85% of them, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but because I think, I mean, they mentioned on the broadcast how the Warriors went from like the worst free throw shooting team to like the best with Jimmy. So
yeah.
I
Jimmy,
think that's
that's
just a really big thing, especially in the playoffs that Jimmy can just bring and just if we can knock down our free throws like we did today, I think we're going to be in a really good spot too.
yeah, I agree. And even just Jimmy, the last foul on. Well, I want to talk about Memphis a little bit. I know we're not Memphis fans, but just
Mhm.
something I'm worried about is Jaren. He fouled out this game. Jimmy with, that's what he brings to the team.
Yeah.
He basically fouled out Jaren, and that really, I mean, I didn't say it changed the game. Like after that, it's they don't have Jaren, who
Yeah.
he's a big player, and that's the one player on Memphis where it's like ever since he's been a rookie, been his one thing is Jaren's. He gets in foul trouble every game, and this year hasn't been any different. So I think that's just one thing where Jaren just has to learn because he's a defensive player of the year. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. And on offense, he can stretch the floor, can score at any time. Like you have to be on the court for the last 2 minutes of the game, or else like you're just not gonna win many of those games. So as Memphis, Jaren just has to learn to, stop fouling because his foul, that's just a dumb foul. Like, you can
Yeah.
jump in on a Jimmy, what Jimmy does. So that's just he has to be smarter than that for Memphis. But
Yeah.
yeah, Jimmy, that's what he's brought to the team. And if you just remember you look back on us beginning of the year, like we didn't the Warriors get no calls and say they did get calls. I think they're like 29th in percentage or whatever, and now they're going 28 for 28. So it's just a good feeling, you know?
Yeah. It is interesting how they were guarding Steph today. I think I mean, I'm actually kind of a fan for it. I mean, I think let him like play a lot and they were a little loose on the calls,
Yeah, yeah,
off ball calls, which I mean, I'm not opposed of. I like it. It's just, so it'd just be interesting to see that, you know, because there are times Steph was like looking out for a foul because
he was getting
he was
fouled.
getting fouled. And he even tried to draw some at times. There's that one before the half Jimmy tried to draw and
Yeah,
offensive foul. So it will be interesting. But I just want what do you just take from this in the outlook and the standings and stuff. So right now we're the 5th seed now
yeah.
because we're like a half a game, I think, above Memphis now.
I think we're
We might be
tied, but we have
one.
the tiebreaker.
because we're 44 and 31. They're
Oh no, we're half a
44 and
game. I'm tripping.
32.
The Warriors have the tiebreaker too. To
Hmm.
be honest, I mean, I think as the Warriors, you have to win as many games as possible,
Hmm.
especially because they got a tough stretch coming up.
I think the stretch will be good for them though.
Yeah, yeah, it
It's
will.
kind of like a play, like prelude to the playoffs.
Yeah, it feels like the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Memphis lost four in a row. I just hopefully, I mean, hopefully the Lakers climb because I'm not gonna lie, like I just watched them against Houston last night. That's not a game like
Mhm.
that's not a team I want to face. Like I'd rather I know I talked about Denver scary. I'd rather face Denver.
Yeah, we talked about
'Cause-
that on the pod the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think you just win as much as possible because Memphis is right there. Clippers are right there. Minnesota's right there, and they're not really losing games. So I think you just have to stay out of the play-in. You got the Lakers next, so that's a little bit scary. And just keep winning these games. I think Kuminga's back next game too. So they'll be mostly hopefully Jimmy's all right. He seemed all right, but he's a tough guy. So what do you think?
I agree with you on the Lakers front too. And I mean,
Mhm.
it'll be interesting because we play both the Lakers and Denver, like you said. So that will shake. If we win both of those games, that's gonna shake up how the standings are. But 'cause, I
Yeah,
mean, this West is just so jam-packed right now. But
yeah, yeah.
so I mean, I think this is just gonna be a really good opportunity to just, get ready for our playoff run, We play the
Mhm.
Lakers, Denver, and then Houston. And I mean, those are three teams that you could potentially match up with in the playoffs.
Yep, yep,
Especially
yep,
like two of them could be teams you match up with in the first round, Denver and the Lakers. So
yep.
um hopefully not Houston. Hopefully you don't fall that low to you have to play in the play-in. But so I just think,
Or maybe Houston falls.
huh?
I said, or maybe Houston
Or
falls,
Houston
but
Falls, yeah, you're right. Especially because they lost the other day. You're right. So I mean, yeah, all three of those teams are potentially teams you can match up with in the first round. So obviously it's not
yeah,
playoff basketball yet, but it kind of seems like every single game here matters for
yeah,
every
it
single one
feels
of
like the
these
playoffs.
teams. So I think you're going to get that type of feel, and yeah, I think it's just going to be a great opportunity for them to just go out here and perform, and hopefully they can just play some good basketball and get the wins because I mean they really need it. Like you said, they just got to avoid getting in the play-in.
Yep, I agree. As for, I mean, I know we're talking about the Warriors. As for, I know I just want to talk about Memphis. They lost four in a row. They look good today, especially
They
on
did.
offense.
Yeah.
But are you worried about them at all? Just because they can fall to the play-in.
I mean, I think anytime you fire a coach literally right before the playoff starts,
Hmm.
that's definitely like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
going on. About the four losses, I mean, if you look who they played, I mean, they played OKC, the Lakers, Boston, and then the Warriors. So
That's a tough stretch.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough four games. But if you want to be a great team, you're gonna have to win some of those games.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm definitely concerned. Just the coach firing.
Yeah.
Their offense again, there's even I think it was Kalena who called it out on one of these plays late in the game, like Jaw was just standing in the corner, like they just sent them to the corner.
I
And
every time that happened, I was because when he had the ball, I know he had a couple bad plays in the late
yeah,
fourth, but he was at some points in games, like we said, he's unstoppable. And then
yeah.
yeah, they freeze him out, and that might mess up his rhythm. So
Yeah, for us, it felt like a win every single time that happened when he
yeah,
was
exactly.
uninvolved. So I mean, um, I don't I was gonna pull up their schedule just to see. I think it's gonna be tough for them. Um,
They play Miami, who has been actually playing a little bit better. Detroit, they don't have a hard schedule, to be honest. Yeah, they don't have a hard schedule
okay, and then they do end up they have Minnesota, Denver, but
because I
okay.
don't think Kate, I don't know if Kate's been out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, oh no, yeah, no. So if he doesn't play that, then I don't know how, they're Detroit's solid, but I mean, I don't know if they're gonna win without Cade. And then Miami, they've been playing better, but they're still not like a.
I think they have some issues, and I really don't like them in a playoff series against potentially who they're going to play. But yeah,
They did look good at times, and they are with Jaren and Zach Edey, like they did look big, so I was a little bit scared of that. But at the end of the game, it just didn't seem like they don't seem like a team that closes well.
yeah,
Especially if Jaw's shot isn't hitting, you can kind of just sag. And although they have shooters, like Desmond Bane, he's a great player, but you're not really like ending the game. He's not. They kind of give it to him like he's a creator, but he's not
Yeah, I
like
know what you're saying, and they'll
he's not
run
a
that like pick
great
and roll
creator, you know.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just and Jaren, has been dealing with foul trouble, and they just their chemistry just seems off and stuff.
Yeah.
But they have
Yeah.
a lot of talent, so I'll give them that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean this is gonna be super interesting to see how this all folds out in this next week. But
Yeah.
if
Or I
you
was gonna spin back to
what were you
this.
gonna
You
say?
talked about it earlier. What were you gonna say?
No, I said what were you gonna say?
Oh, you're just talking about because Curry does get fouled a lot and stuff, but to be honest, as a Warriors fan, I was annoyed, but the refs were kind of like the Warriors were getting away with a lot. Like they're playing it both ways, like it was a physical game. That's why I couldn't get too mad because they're being physical in Memphis, and just it felt like a playoff game, where they're not calling
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. My point with that was just it seemed like at times we were trying to like play into the foul calls and draw them,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Where it's like I think that just if you see that they're gonna play like that and like they're gonna let them play like that, that's cool. It's just like you just gotta just play
Keep
through it,
playing exactly.
And like they started to, especially at the end. It's just at times I saw where they were just trying to draw the foul or like yeah, really get the
Yeah,
call. So I just didn't like that at some points. That's what I was really saying.
yeah. No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, but. Other than that, I mean, it was just a tremendous game. I mean, just like you said in the beginning, for anyone, just any NBA fan, just any fan of basketball, just a great game to watch.
Great
But
game.
a lot of these games in the next week are going to be like that, especially in these West matchups. So
Yeah,
stay tuned. But
good too.
we're going to be dropping
All right.
some videos too.
Yep, yep, yep.